So, Mr. Truax, what do you think of Mariello for hosting the Winter Olympics?
Well, it shows promise. It's certainly cold enough in the South Shetland Islands of Antarctica, and after the effects of climate change, we don't see many sunny places anymore. And your mountain is perfect for the skiing and snowboarding events. I do have one concern, however.
What's that?
In the last century, many of the cities we consider for the Olympics were eliminated due to the waste management systems. Not only were the rivers too polluted to host the boating and swimming events, the trash crew by thousands of spectators was also a huge problem. How will Mariello, a relatively smaller city of 45,000 people, address these issues?
We hadn't really thought about that.
I'll propose a deal. I'll come back here in 4 years to see how you've improved your waste management system in order to host the games.
We're really going to need to fix our city if we want to be considered for the Winter Olympics. Do you have any ideas, Mr. Mayor?
Well, first we need to identify the problem. Right now, we send waste to landfills where it sits for hundreds of years. One thing that really makes waste stick around is plastic. It can take thousands of years to decompose and contains many toxins. But you're the chemical engineer. What do you think?
Part of what we need to work on is source reduction, or making sure we don't create as much waste in the first place. We also need to focus on recycling. We're putting so much into landfills that could be reused for other things.
We should also consider to compost more. This would allow things to biodegrade rather than hang around in landfills.
Hello again. Come over to Mario's waste system. It definitely looked cleaner as I was coming in.
We do have a much better waste management system. We've tried to make it really simple for households to recycle and compost all of their waste. There are 2 separate vacuum tubes that go from every single house into either the recycling or composting facility. Paper, glass, and metal go to our recycling facility where they're sorted by nanobots. Food scraps, yard waste, and bioplastics go to the composting facility. Nanobots also work in the composting facility to assist the microorganisms that break down the waste. One of the big byproducts of our composting is methane, which used to be one of the greenhouse gases that contributed to climate change. We break this methane down into carbon and hydrogen. The hydrogen we use to power our fuel cells, and the carbon we use to build carbon nanotubes.
This could be a really dirty process. However, all of our vacuum tubes are lined with a nanotechnology coating that keeps them clean by keeping water and waste from sticking to the sides.
That sounds like a very efficient system. But what happened to all the plastic waste?
I'm glad you asked. After all, plastic makes up 12.8% of the municipal waste stream. We don't use any oil-based plastics anymore. Instead, we use bioplastics. Bioplastics are made of organic materials such as corn, starch, and the keratin in chicken feathers. They're completely biodegradable, which means they quickly decompose in our compost facility.
If you prevent waste, you don't have to dispose of it later. Our electrical engineers have designed ways to reduce electronic waste with holographic technology. We also offer tax breaks to anyone who uses cloth diapers.
Because all of our food is grown locally in our vertical farms, we don't have excess waste from packaging.
I also knows many consignment shops. People can take things they no longer need. Wow, you really improved Mario's waste system. But what else makes Mario a great place?
Mariello is famous for our cold, snowy climate, one of the only climates left like this in the world. Our mountain, Brimstone Peak, has many recreational activities based on its slopes, such as skiing and snowboarding. We also have glass hotels where tourists like to stay and watch the Aurora Australis or Southern Lights.
The growing season has to be really short here with the cold weather. It must cost a lot of all your food shipped in.
Well, we really don't import any food at all. All of our food is grown hydroponically in vertical farms. There are many advantages to using vertical farms for crops. Since they're indoors and temperature controlled, we can grow any type of crop all year round. The fresh food is grown and sold locally at our farmers markets, meaning we cause no pollution from transportation. The fresh food also means we create drastically less packaging waste.
Hold on a minute. Doesn't it cost a lot to run your vertical farms and your waste management system? I've heard they are really expensive.
They are expensive. That's one of our trade-offs. But we use the methane produced by our compost to power our city. Hydrogen fuel cells are a clean and efficient energy source. We get hydrogen from our methane from the compost. Hydrogen then reacts with oxygen in a chemical reaction, produces energy, water, and heat. The water and heat are used for our vertical farms, and the energy is used to power our city. These fuel cells work 24/7, providing almost all of the energy we need.
And since we have polar nights, solar panels are not much help for us. So, our alternate energy sources are wind power and geothermal from under the mountain. Geothermal energy is used to heat our roads and walkways, melting snow and ice without using salt or sand, which can harm the environment.
How do you communicate and travel, Mariello?
We may be on an island at the bottom of the earth, but we're not isolated. Our holographic communication tower provides a way for people to watch shows and concerts, attend conferences, and go to classes. Our school system is totally online with holographic teachers. We get around the city by taking maglev streetcars. We also have a high-speed underwater vacuum train that can take us to South America in just a few minutes.
What about the polar night? Don't the long days and long nights bother you?
This is just another problem we've solved with nanotechnology. All of the windows in all of our structures have nanotechnology built in that can simulate daylight or darken the rooms when needed.
You can see this technology in our residential neighborhoods, here by the water and in the natural mountain setting near the ski resorts. Obviously, these are very desirable locations. They are complete neighborhoods. Everything you need is within walking distance. The streets and walkways are made of porous recycled material that prevents runoff and icing by allowing liquid to soak into the road.
When you're hosting the Olympics, we need to make sure the public is well taken care of. I see over here you have police, fire, and hospital services.
State of the art, again using nanotechnology to sense changes in air quality due to smoke and other gases. In fact, one of the biggest parts of our waste management system is our handling of biomedical wastes. Bioplastics are used in the hospitals, but before they are sent to our composting facility, they're heated at very high temperatures to kill any viruses that may be on the wastes.
Mariello is more than just a sleepy tourist town. We were founded as a research base, and we continue this focus even today. Many disciplines of engineers work in our research facilities to come up with solutions for climate change, new applications for nanotechnology, and redesign bioplastics.
I'm impressed. It looks like you really improved your city, especially the waste management system. It's unique, efficient, and self-sustainable. I'll notify the Olympic Committee that this is the city we choose for the next Olympics. And Lydia, good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'm competing. Off to Mount Brimstone to train.
Can you describe your water recycling processes a little bit?
Yeah, our water process first starts in the ocean. We get our water from the ocean and we treat it in our water treatment facility. We use graphene filters to desalinate it and then pump it to the rest of our city. Once the water is used, the wastewater is recollected using pipes. And we again use a lot of filters, including nanotechnology graphene filters. We also heat it to high temperatures to sterilize it and then put it back into the ocean to continue the cycle.
One of the byproducts of our fuel cells is water, so we use that water in our vertical farms.
Why would people choose to live in your city?
First of all, we live in Antarctica, so we're one of the only snowy climates left on the Earth in 2150 because of climate change.
Also, our city is highly advanced and uses a lot of nanotechnology, and it's really easy for them to compost and recycle.
Our city also has a lot of recreational activities such as skiing, snowboarding that you can do on Brimstone Peak, or you can just simply walk around the city and get a lot of great views.
Most notably, we host the Winter Olympics, so we get a lot of tourists every 4 years to watch the Olympics.
Thank you.
You use both traditional technologies and renewable and innovative technologies. Can you explain why you choose the different ones and where?
Well, the technology we use today, a lot of it isn't sustainable. For example, plastics right now sit in landfills for thousands of years instead of decomposing, which is why we redesigned our plastics to use bioplastics, because those can decompose in our compost facility.
We also choose to use vertical farms because now we don't have as much farmland anymore. So now instead of thinking out, we have to think up, and in vertical farms we can grow more food easier.
We also wanted redundancy. In case our fuel cells go out, we have wind power and geothermal.
Thank you.
What would you say is the most innovative aspect of your waste management system?
I would say that the most innovative aspect is our nanotechnology. We use nanotechnology pretty much every step of the way. We have it in our vacuum tubes to keep them clean so that they don't need to be cleaned. We have it in the compost and recycling facility to sort and help break down the waste. And of course, we use it in every other aspect of our city as well.
Another one of the most innovative parts is the accessibility. Since everyone has vacuum tubes in their homes, it makes it a lot simpler and more convenient for people to recycle.
I have a question. Being that you're in Antarctica, how does your city and what features actually support living a healthy lifestyle, being more involved in the community?
First of all, because we're in Antarctica, we have polar nights and days, which is when it's dark or light for long periods of time, which is why we have nanotechnology in our windows to keep people on regular schedules.
Also helps with happy lifestyle. There's many recreational activities in the city, such as skiing and snowboarding. And so we also host the Winter Olympics. Many people come walking around just to see it because it's of the close locations.
We also farm fresh food so that people can get the healthiest food possible.
Our complete neighborhoods also support a healthy lifestyle because everything is in walking distance, so you don't have to go far to get whatever you need.
Okay.
So is walking the prime mode of transportation around the city, or do you have other, can you go in a little bit more into the other means as well?
We do have other options of transportation. The most commonly used, other than walking, is our maglev streetcars that are controlled by our communication tower. And since these are driverless, there's very little accidents, and nobody has a personal car anymore.
We also have bike shares, so people can ride bikes to get around.
And we use maglev because it doesn't create as much pollution.
What is the estimated population of the city?
45,000.
45,000.
45,000.
Thank you.
How did you make your moving parts operable?
For our communication tower, we used a motor, and we have this tower on top of it, and we can just press the button and it spins around.
I mean, our train mover was actually, we were engineering this last year. And what we needed is rare earth, specifically rare earth magnet, because those are the only strong enough ones, a battery, and a copper wire. Those are the ones to track.
It took us a really long time to engineer because we had to keep tweaking it. Every single feature had to be perfect. We had to adjust the thickness of our coil, the amount of magnets we used, the type of battery. We had to figure out how many uses a battery had before it died. We have a poster about it over there.
And for our vacuum tubes, we put little pieces of paper that represent trash, and we put it in the tube and we pump it with an air pump. So it goes through.
I'm back on transportation. I was curious, when you talk about walking being the most common form of transportation, does that mean that you have people live in neighborhoods that are close to their work, and then you expect them, what's the distance that people typically have to go from work to home to the store?
Oh,
Had a perfect answer planned and everything.
Great presentation.
excellent. Excellent job. Very good.